Greetings, Facebook, internet world. This is Oliver from Half Measures Room. I really wanted to go to a different place every time I film these. It was just too windy outside today, so I thought I'd get back indoors where the speaker wasn't rattled by the wind. I noticed that happened a little bit on the last video log I made. So I'm here in my room. It's the bed back here. Uh, and we're going to be talking about step 2 today. I was thinking about the stuff that has happened to me since the last vlog, and I had a really good weekend. I get my kids over the weekend. That's a big deal. It's all about them and taking care of them. My wife works weekend evenings, so I try to get the kids out and do something a little different. Get outdoors if it's not rainy, and there's a little bit of rain coming in, so I didn't really want to take them to the park because I was afraid that once we got there it'd start raining and we'd have to leave. So I looked on for you guys, people that live in Austin. There's a Facebook page called Do 512, and it's about children and things going on around town, and a lot of stuff that's free. And there were two festival events going on. One of them was a rock and roll block party at the North Loop side of town, which is one of my favorite places. There's a coffee house over there I like called Epoch. It's got some really good coffee, and there's a record store over there. I like Breakaway Records. They have a lot of vinyl, cassette tapes for you that are into MP3s and CDs. It's probably not the store for you. But a little bit further up the road is where the block party was, which there's a skate shop there called Apparition. I like riding skateboards, and this is my favorite skateboard shop in town. It's got all different kinds of boards and wheels and trucks for different types of riders. And I know the owner and the people that work the shop. We skate usually once a week on Wednesday nights. So it was nice taking the kids over there, but there really wasn't a whole lot for them to look at. There's a lot of what do you call it? Vintage resale shops there. There's a lot of furniture and things like that, clothes. There was a bookstore across the street that we checked out, but it was all political type of stuff that kids just aren't really into these days. My kids are real young, 7, 9, and 12. So even the 12-year-olds just really not into politics that much. So then we went down to the Pecan Street Festival. For those of you who are in Austin, Austin, Texas has this thing called Pecan Street Fest, and it's once a year, and they block off the road on 6th Street, which is where all the clubs and bars and stuff are, and they line it with tarps, and lots of vendors are there, people that artisans that make things, build things, and for sale, artsy stuff, jewelry, furniture, paintings. There's a beef jerky guy there selling beef jerky. You could try it out, taste some of his beef jerky, which was cool. And on the other side of the street there was this shop I've never seen before. It was called I can't even remember the name of it now. It's some kind of a museum with kind of crazy stuff in it. And I found this comic book. I'm really into comics, but I'm really like the rare stuff, the more eclectic, alternative type of stuff. I really like like graphic novels mostly, but I found this one called the Harbinger. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's from the Valiant Press. This is issue number 0, which I've never never heard of a issue number 0. But I'm really interested in it. It looks pretty cool. Just your typical type of artwork in it. But along with issue 0, it came with the graphic novel called Harbinger, and I'm taking it. It's got all of the issues in here. Here's some more of the artwork, but kind of neat, kind of special. But the reason this name of this comic came up to mind, and the reason I purchased it was only because it was still in the plastic wrap. So I was thinking it's from 1992, so I'm thinking maybe worth something one of these days. But my wife was reading this book called The Harbinger. It's a novel, and it's about the history and the present, the state of the world, politically, militarily, economically, socially and environmentally, and about these prophecies that were written in the past, and how this stuff is just coming true from people that have brought us this information from ages ago. And I had to look up that definition for harbinger, and harbinger is a person or thing that announces or signals the approach of another, a forerunner of something, a herald, a sign, an indication, a signal, a portent, an omen, augury, forewarning, presage. And this all really interested me, especially when thinking about step two, because step two, it's asking us to believe in a power greater than ourselves that could restore us to sanity. And thinking about step two, I've written about this in the last blog that I wrote, and I was trying to think of ways to get around that stuff that I brought out and not repeat it. But it's just kind of a hard thing to do. Step two for me is really a no-brainer if I've completely taken the first step, which is admitting that I haven't the power to stop drinking or using drugs, and that my life is becoming manageable, that I can't, manage my life, because of where I've gone. And so to me, if I can't manage my life and I don't have the power, and, my friends and family and psychologists and people at treatment centers don't have that power as well, then obviously it's got to be something other than human. Uh, and this is a difficult thing for me, the whole God concept, and from my experience with people in meetings and at groups, it's been my I've noticed that people that are of religion, that have God in their life, they already have belief in a higher power and a concept of God. It seems like this program, it becomes a little harder than people like myself, because they already have this image of what their God concept is, and they feel like maybe that person is not meeting their needs or their wants, and is sending them to hell or whatever because of what they've done. And for someone like me that had to come up with that concept on their own, and come to a belief of their own, you know, conception, it was a little bit easier, even though it was difficult for me. But coming to that understanding of step one and admitting to myself, step two is really a no brainer to me now. It's just doesn't. It's just the right way to go. And thinking about insanity, in meetings they always repeat. People always bring up that quote from it's an Albert Einstein quote. I've actually looked it up. Thought it was kind of neat that Albert Einstein said this, but he said that insanity is doing the same things over and over again, expecting a different result, which is a completely insane mode of reaction, actions. But the one that I like the most is something that I've heard somewhere else, and I don't really know who quoted this or where this quote comes from, but it's the whole idea that insanity is believing that a lie is the truth, and that's the one that really sticks with me, because I would do these things, the drinking, the using the drugs, all the bad stuff that I was doing to continue this kind of behavior, and it not only was I expecting a different result out of the way I was doing things, but I was lying to myself about how it was really only my responsibility, is nobody else's business. I was really believing these lies I was telling myself in order to keep doing what I was doing and using. So that for me is really the insane thinking, and I really don't know how much better I've gotten since then. They always talk about whenever you start using drugs and alcohol, that's when you stop aging. So I might be 16, 17 years old in a sense, because when I started drinking and using. Um, anyway, to keep going forward with this, well, I don't know what else what I was going to say. Let me go ahead and read. I like this part out of the 12 and 12. It really caught my attention. That's in the first chapter. It talks about this is kind of a person, a new person speaking to a sponsor, about step 2, and it says, you have convinced us that we are alcoholics and that our lives are unmanageable. Having reduced us to a state of absolute helplessness, you now declare that none but a higher power can remove our obsession. Some of us won't believe in God, others can't, and others still who do believe that God exists have no faith whatsoever he will perform this miracle. Yes, you've got us over the barrel all right, but where do we go from here? And the beginning of this really had me guessing, and I thought was pretty wrong statement, uh, because if you ever read about sponsorship, or talk to your sponsor about sponsoring people, and it's in our literature, it's in the AA stuff, the NA stuff. It's really not our decision to classify someone else as an alcoholic or an addict. We can't really, call somebody that. It's really up to them. That's all. Step 1 is, it's admitting to ourselves and to others, that we have this problem. I can't really say that someone is like me, that has the same disease. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychiatrist or anything like that. I just it's really not my job. And even if I was right, what is that going to do for that other person? It's all about honesty. Step 1 is really about honesty, and step 2 for me is it's kind of a call to action in a way. It's just that another instance of recovery. It's making this coming to this this belief, this vision of where the solution will come from, because obviously I haven't been able to change my life. Others have tried to give me help, but I haven't accepted it, or I would accept it for a little while and then give it back. I need this help from something that's around me constantly, and my higher power does work through other people. I've never heard voices from above or anything like that. It's always been through other people, and that's why meetings are so important to me, and talking to my sponsor and my wife and my family about things, and not keeping things to myself, but actually discussing these problems to others. And that's where I believe my higher power speaks through, is other people. And that's one of the things I ask for in meetings during that moment of silence, because I have this problem of judging other people when I hear them sharing in meetings. Because sometimes I just don't hear similarities. I hear a lot of differences, and I don't like the way they're talking about things. They talk a lot about the way it was, and I want to hear about the way it is now, and what's changed. What's helped them move from one person to the other. So that's what I ask for in that moment of silence in the meeting. I ask for God to remove those judgments, so I can better hear His message and be of help to those that I can be of service to. Let me go ahead and continue reading this. On that second page, it says, yes. That is a good question. First of all, the 12 steps are but suggestions. And secondly, to get sober and to stay sober, you don't have to swallow all of step 2 right now. Looking back, I find that I took it piecemeal myself. Third, all you really need is a truly open mind. Just resign from the debating society and quit bothering yourself with such deep questions as whether it was the hen or the egg that came first. Again, I say all you need is an open mind. And again, this really isn't an action step per se. It's just a call to action, a belief step. And it's not. I've got a friend of mine that was having some issues with the program, because this person is a Christian, and didn't really see a lot of details. And I tried to mention to him, the program, the 12-step program, began as these 4 absolutes in this other group called the Oxford Group. Which treating alcoholics was just one thing that they did. They did other things. They helped homeless people, people of disease in other countries. They traveled the world helping people, and it was a Christian-based organization. But they did have a step system for helping people, and it was 4 steps. And I think one of the big things was that's like what we do with 8 and 9. Going make amends for the damage that we've done, and the other one was to carry the message to other people, the next person in line, to help them. But I think Bill Wilson and Dr. Bob and these original 100 people wanted to be real clear about, they just wanted to stick to alcoholism only, which I think that's what NA is all about. And NA came from AA. It started in AA, and it was, for drug addicts only, and not to have this big cloud of people with problems. They just wanted to stick to one thing only that they could, help with, and it was through their own experience because they had gone through the same kind of problems. I mean, that's really difficult. You want to include a bunch of people, because people that are alcoholics come from all walks of life, all different kinds of religions and beliefs and social, societies and everything. So they got down real generic as they could, without, interfering with someone else's belief system. So I think that's why the literature is written the way it is. So step two, it's asking for your own conception of a higher power, and not a Christian or a Muslim or a Buddhist or a Jewish conception. It wants to include everyone. So if you are of a religion and you're having some problems, maybe you should talk to your people at your in your religious fellowship about help. With these problems you have with your higher power. For me, it was my conception. I had to have something that I could feel, touch, and see. That's the only time I've ever been able to believe in anything. So for me, it started off with nature, and I like this whole hen and the egg example, and what I read. I had to see that these things in nature, they weren't mistakes. They seemed real creative to me, but it's not like us humans could create them. And these rocks and these mountains and these streams. It all just seemed like they all had so much purpose. These other animals, birds and insects and things that crawled through the earth, it just didn't seem like some big mistake, some big uh, cosmic collapse of the universe and the matter, by some, oops. It just seemed so specific and purposeful for me, as life on this planet. Um, Even the trees and the fruit and the vegetables, the things that we eat, just had so much color and vibrance, and vitamins that help particular things in our bodies. We have this pyramid of of things that eat each other to continue life on this planet. And it just seemed all so purposeful for me, and it's something that I could see, touch, and feel, and that's where I based the conception of my higher power. And this is something that my sponsor asked me to do, and it's something that I asked my sponsors to do. I'm not gonna guide them through a belief in a higher power system or a concept. It's something they need to do of their own choice, so they continue to have this relationship. And for me, it's a daily thing. It's something I start my day off with. It's something I end my day, and throughout my day, I have conversations with the higher power that I choose to call God. And some people use that God as a good, orderly direction, or a group of drunks. Whatever takes the cake. Is the easiest thing for you to conceive of. There's a guy at my home group that talks about the doorknob on the door. That was his higher power for a while. And only he could open it and shut it. So he had some kind of relationship, some kind of use with this higher power. No one else but him could do this. And eventually that was thrown out the window. Some stuff happened in his life where he came to a greater conception and a greater belief in a higher power, and that may be with all people. I know my conception is very limited and generic and simple, and it kind of grows throughout each day, each year of my life, as long as I continue this relationship. Um, I'm reached about that 20-minute mark, but I did want to. I don't know if anybody's seen the thing on my Facebook page for the Half Measures Room, but there's an ad there for a men's retreat that's at the end of October, and the registration is over on October 10th. I think is the last day. It's a great men's retreat. It's a 3-day deal where they go through all 12 steps in 3 days. It's amazing. It's one of the best men's retreats I've ever been to. My sponsor is the one that helped start it off. It's I think this is the 5th year that they're having it, and I've only gone I've only gone once before. A few years ago I went, so this will be my second time, and I'm really looking forward to going. I'll be celebrating a year on that Saturday. So I'm going to put a link. If you go to the www.halfmeasuresroom.com, I'll put a link with an image of the event on below this video, so you can click just click before the 10th and sign up. It's real cheap. It's like $60, 3 days, and that pays for food and a place to sleep. All you need to do is bring a blanket and a pillow, and everything's good. But it's right here in the hill country of Texas. And if you're planning on going, just give me an email, Oliver@halfmeasuresroom.com. Let me know so that we can hook up for this deal. But hope y'all have a great week, and I'll be talking to y'all next time on Step 3.